everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Excited to be back.
Today we're looking at something a bit different.
Oh.
A book of aphorisms.
Okay.
And we're going to be talking about The Bed of Procrustes by Nassim Taleb.
Okay.
And we're using Nat Eliason's summary and favorite selections as a guide.
Sounds good.
So for those who don't know, aphorisms, those are those short, powerful statements that can really kind of shift your thinking.
Yeah.
So think of them as like concentrated bursts of wisdom.
Like little thought grenades?
Yeah, love it.
So I think we're in for a very interesting deep dive.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the best things about aphorisms is that they really cut to the chase.
Yeah, no fluff.
Yeah, there's no fluff.
Just straight to the point.
Straight to the
Like
point.
those, perfectly timed one-liners in a movie that make you just stop and think, whoa, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And this book is packed with them.
I can imagine. So we're going to explore some of the most thought-provoking ones and unpack their deeper meaning.
I'm ready.
And we're starting with a section called Unconventional Wisdom,
Okay.
where Taleb really kind of turns conventional thinking on its head.
Love it.
And this one is a perfect example of that.
Okay.
Your brain is most intelligent when you don't instruct it on what to do. Something people who take showers discover on occasion.
The shower thoughts.
Yes, exactly. Shower thoughts.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I've had some of my best ideas in the shower.
It's so true.
It's like that moment when you just let your mind wander, and all of a sudden, boom.
The aha moment.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a light bulb.
It is.
And, and it really speaks to that power of the subconscious mind, When we kind of loosen the reins of conscious control and we let our minds wander, that's when creativity can kind of bubble up out of the surface.
Exactly.
Those classic shower thoughts. They come out of nowhere when you're least expecting them.
Yeah.
And this aphorism suggests that maybe we need to just embrace those moments of unstructured thinking.
I love that.
A little more often.
Yeah, a little more often.
Yeah.
This next one really resonated with me.
Okay.
If you get easily bored, it means that your BS detector is functioning properly. If you forget some things, it means that your mind knows how to filter. And if you feel sadness, it means that you are human. So what are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's such a powerful reminder that it's okay to not be on all the time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Society often pressures us to be constantly engaged and productive and happy.
Right.
But Taleb is suggesting that these so-called negative traits like boredom, forgetfulness, even sadness, they might actually be signs of a healthy, functioning mind.
So we should see them as strengths.
Exactly.
Rather than weaknesses.
Yeah, like boredom could be a sign that you're craving deeper intellectual stimulation, pushing you to seek out something more meaningful.
Yes.
And forgetting can be your brain's way of decluttering and prioritizing what's truly important.
Right.
And sadness. Well, it's just part of being human.
Yes.
We need to feel the full spectrum of emotions to truly appreciate the good times.
Yeah. I love how this challenges the idea of always striving for relentless positivity.
Right, exactly.
It's okay to have those off days and those moments when we need to disconnect.
Absolutely.
And just be with our feelings.
Yeah.
Okay, this next aphorism is all about getting out of our comfort zones.
Right.
We need to feel a little bit lost somewhere, physically or intellectually, at least once a day.
Interesting.
So have you ever experienced that feeling of being pleasantly lost?
Absolutely. And I think it's so essential for growth.
Yeah.
Remember that time you went on that backpacking trip with no set itinerary?
Yes.
Or when you dove headfirst into learning a new language?
Yes.
Even though it felt so overwhelming at first.
Yeah.
But looking back, those were some of the most rewarding experiences, even though they pushed you way outside your comfort zone.
They did.
That's the beauty of it. When we venture into unfamiliar territory, whether it's a new place or a new skill or even just a new way of thinking, we open ourselves up to new discoveries and unexpected joys. It's like we're shaking up our routines and forcing ourselves to see the world with fresh eyes.
It's so easy to get stuck in a rut.
It is.
But this aphorism reminds us that sometimes the best experiences come from embracing a little bit of chaos and uncertainty.
A little bit of the unknown.
Yes.
And those experiences often lead to the most profound personal growth.
Totally.
Stepping outside our comfort zones, even in small ways, can help us build resilience, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
I love it.
Now, shifting gears a bit, Taleb also has some pointed observations about work, productivity, and the good life.
Yeah.
And some of them might make you reevaluate your relationship with your to-do list.
Interesting.
For instance, this one. Someone who says, "I am busy," is either declaring incompetence and lack of control of his life,
Right.
or trying to get rid of you.
Ouch.
Right.
A little harsh, but I think there's a lot of truth to that.
I agree.
It challenges that whole culture of busyness that we've created,
Yeah.
where we wear our packed schedules like badges of honor.
Right. We've come to equate being busy with being productive or important.
Right.
But what if true productivity is about making conscious choices?
Yes.
About how we spend our time and energy.
Absolutely.
So instead of just filling our days with endless tasks,
yes,
we should focus on what truly matters.
Right.
And be intentional about how we allocate our time.
This next one really flips the script on how we view productivity. What fools call wasting time is most often the best investment.
That's a good one.
Makes you wonder.
It really does. It challenges us to rethink our definition of wasting time.
Right.
You know, think about those moments when you've allowed yourself to simply relax or daydream or pursue a hobby that's seemingly unrelated to work.
Yeah.
Often, those are the times when creative solutions emerge or we gain valuable insights that wouldn't have come to us if we were hyper-focused on a task.
Right. It's like our brains need that downtime to process information, make connections, recharge.
Recharge, yeah.
And I think this aphorism also speaks to the importance of play.
Yes.
Not just for children,
but for adults, too.
For adults, too.
You know, remember how as kids,
we
were constantly exploring and experimenting and having fun without a specific goal in mind?
Right, just for the joy of it.
Just for the joy of it, exactly.
And somewhere along the way, we often lose that sense of playful exploration.
Yeah.
But embracing playfulness, even as adults, can be incredibly beneficial. It helps us tap into our creativity, reduce stress, approach challenges with a fresh perspective.
I love it.
So maybe those hours spent, you know, tinkering with a personal project or going for a hike in nature.
Right.
Those aren't really wasted time.
Not at all.
They could be the key to unlocking new ideas and finding greater fulfillment.
I agree.
This next one is a little more controversial,
Okay.
but I think it's worth discussing. Those who do not think that employment is systemic slavery are either blind or employed.
Okay, that's a bold statement.
It is a bold statement.
Yeah.
But I think Taleb is trying to get us to think critically about our relationship with work.
Right.
The traditional employment model, working for someone else, often in a hierarchical structure, can sometimes feel really restrictive and soul-crushing.
It can, especially in today's world where there's so much emphasis on hustling and constantly proving your worth.
Right.
But it's also important to acknowledge that employment can provide stability and structure.
Yeah.
And a sense of community.
Sure.
So maybe the key takeaway here is to be mindful of the trade-offs.
Yeah.
To find work that aligns with our values and allows us to pursue our passions.
Yes.
Both within and outside the workplace.
It's about finding that sweet spot where we can feel both challenged and fulfilled by our work.
Right.
Without sacrificing our well-being or our sense of self.
I love that.
And that might involve questioning some deeply ingrained societal norms about work, productivity, and what constitutes a good life.
It's all about challenging those assumptions.
Yes.
And exploring new ways of thinking.
Exactly.
That's what these deep dives are all about.
And that's what we're going to keep doing in the next section.
Looking forward to it.
Which focuses on learning, expertise, and the limits of knowledge.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
I think those are going to push us even further outside our comfort zones.
I'm ready for it.
Are you ready?
Yeah, bring it on. I'm always up for a good mental workout.
I love it. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with more of the Bed of Procrustes.
Sounds good. It's amazing how we can get so caught up in this idea of work, you know?
Yeah.
That we forget about just continuously learning and expanding our knowledge.
It's like we finish school and we think, okay, done, learning's over.
Exactly.
But that's just the beginning. Right. The world's constantly changing.
Absolutely.
There's always something new to discover.
Always.
So.
And that brings us to the next section.
Okay.
Which is all about learning, expertise, and the limits of knowledge.
Okay.
And Taleb has some really insightful and sometimes controversial aphorisms about how we approach learning and what it truly means to be an expert.
Okay, love it.
So, for example, this one really made me think. Studying the work and intellectual habits of a genius to learn from him is like studying the garb of a chef to emulate his cooking.
It's like you can't just copy someone else's style
Right.
and expect to achieve that same level of mastery.
Exactly.
There's so much more to it than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True expertise goes beyond just mimicking techniques.
Right?
It's about understanding the underlying principles,
Yeah.
the why behind the what.
Right.
Imagine trying to become a master chef just by observing what a chef wears
Yeah.
or how they hold a knife.
Right.
You might pick up a few superficial tricks,
Yeah.
but you'll miss that deeper knowledge, the intuition,
Right.
the years of experience that truly make a mastery.
It's a reminder that real learning requires more than just passive observation.
It does.
We need to get our hands dirty.
Absolutely.
Experiment, make mistakes,
Yeah.
figure things out for ourselves.
You gotta.
So what stands out to you about this idea?
I think it encourages us to find our own
Yeah.
unique path to mastery.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, instead of trying to be carbon copies of someone else,
Right.
we should embrace our individuality and develop our own approaches, our own styles,
Right.
our own voices.
Our own voices. I love that.
That's what makes true expertise so compelling.
Yeah.
It's a reflection of the person,
Yeah.
not just a set of skills.
This next aphorism is sure to raise some eyebrows.
Okay.
Never hire an A student unless it is to take exams.
Interesting.
I mean, what do you think? Do you agree with this?
You know, it's definitely provocative,
Yeah.
but I think Taleb is trying to challenge our conventional notions
Right.
of intelligence and success.
Right.
We often equate good grades with competence,
Yeah.
but those aren't always the same thing.
Not always, no.
Think about it. Someone who excels in a structured academic environment
Uh-huh.
might struggle in a more chaotic, real-world setting.
Right, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone who might not have the best grades could have incredible street smarts,
Yes.
practical skills, or the ability to think outside the box.
Absolutely.
So it's about recognizing that intelligence comes in many forms,
Right.
and that traditional measures like grades or test scores,
Yeah.
they don't tell the whole story.
They don't.
This aphorism
Yeah.
encourages us to look beyond those narrow metrics and appreciate the diverse range of talents and abilities that people bring to the table.
And to value those who can adapt,
Yes.
think critically, and solve problems in unconventional ways,
Yeah.
even if they didn't get straight A's.
Exactly.
Cool.
You don't need a perfect scorecard to succeed in life.
This next one is a bit tongue-in-cheek,
Okay.
but I love it. I suspect that IQ, SAT, and school grades are tests designed by nerds so they can get high scores in order to call each other intelligent.
Uh-huh.
It makes you wonder if we're putting too much emphasis
It does.
on these types of assessments.
I think it's a humorous take on the limitations of standardized testing.
Yeah.
Which often fails to capture the full picture of a person's intelligence or potential.
It's like trying to measure the vastness of the ocean with a teaspoon.
Exactly. You might get a small sample, but you're missing the depth and complexity of the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And it also makes you think about who benefits from these tests, right?
Yes.
Is it the students?
Right.
Or is it the institutions that use these scores to
Yeah.
rank and categorize individuals?
Right.
And it ties into this idea of domain dependence, which
100%.
Taleb also mentions in his book.
Okay.
He says domain dependence is when one acts in a certain way in an environment, say the gym, and a different way in another.
Oh, that's so true.
Right.
I think about how I am in the gym versus how I am at a
Yeah.
book club meeting.
Totally different versions of yourself.
Yeah, it's like different sides of me come out.
It reminds me that we can't judge people based on their behavior in one specific context.
Right.
Someone might be incredibly shy and reserved in a large group setting,
Right.
but absolutely shine when they're in a smaller, more intimate environment.
Yeah.
So we all have our strengths and weaknesses, our areas where we excel.
And areas where we might struggle.
Right.
And those strengths and weaknesses often depend on the context we're in.
It's all about context.
That's it.
Right.
It is.
So instead of trying to fit everyone into a neat little box based on a single test score or a particular behavior, maybe we should focus on creating environments where people can thrive and express their unique talents.
I love that.
Yeah.
And, you know, shifting gears a bit.
Okay.
This next aphorism really made me stop and think about perspective.
Okay.
Change your anchor to what did not happen rather than what did happen.
Okay, that's a little abstract.
It is.
Yeah, but feels really powerful.
It's about shifting our focus from dwelling on the negative to appreciating the positive,
Okay.
even when things don't go as planned.
Right.
Instead of fixating on what went wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
what if we consider all the things that could gone wrong
Right.
but didn't?
Yeah, I love that.
Like a mental reframe.
Right.
Instead of saying, ugh, I messed up that presentation,
Yeah.
we could say, wow, at least I didn't trip and fall on my way to the podium.
Exactly.
And that shift in perspective
Yeah.
can be incredibly liberating.
I love that.
It allows us to move forward with a sense of gratitude and resilience,
Right.
even when faced with challenges.
Even when faced with challenges.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one is about happiness.
Happiness.
Which is something we all strive for.
We do.
In one way or another, right?
In some way, yeah.
Taleb says, happiness. We don't know what it means, how to measure it, or how to reach it, but we know extremely well how to avoid unhappiness.
It's so true, you know. We often chase after this elusive idea of happiness, searching for the magic formula or the perfect set of circumstances.
Right.
But maybe the key is to focus on what makes us unhappy and try to eliminate those things from our lives.
So it's a process of subtraction rather than addition.
I like that.
Instead of seeking out more, what if we focus on letting go of the things that drain our energy, cause us stress, hold us back?
Exactly. And that might involve making some tough choices, right? Like changing careers, ending toxic relationships, or even just saying no more often.
Yes.
But the payoff can be immense.
It can be.
Greater peace of mind, increased energy, a sense of freedom to pursue what truly matters to us.
It's about creating space for the things that bring us joy rather than constantly trying to fill that void with external things.
I love that.
Okay, before we move on to the next section, let's end with one more aphorism.
Right.
And this one is about philosophy. To become a philosopher, start by walking very slowly.
What do you think he means by that?
Well, what do you think?
I think it's about slowing down, both physically and mentally, you know, to allow for deeper reflection.
Yeah.
When we're constantly rushing, our minds are racing, and we miss so much of the beauty and wonder that surrounds us.
That's true.
But when we take the time to pause, observe, and ponder, we open ourselves up to new insights and perspectives.
It's about being present.
It is.
In the moment, isn't it?
Yes.
Really savoring the experience.
Yeah.
Whether it's a walk in nature or a conversation with a loved one. Or simply a quiet moment of contemplation.
Absolutely.
And that mindfulness can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves, the world around us, our place in it.
Our place in it.
It's about cultivating a sense of curiosity, wonder, and a willingness to see the world through fresh eyes.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is, it is.
And, you know, it's amazing how these aphorisms, though they're short and simple, can spark such profound reflections.
You can.
They're like little mental nuggets that can shift our perspective in such subtle but powerful ways.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
We have.
There's so much more to explore in Taleb's Bed of Procrustes.
But for now, I think we need to take a little break and let these ideas sink in. We'll be back soon to explore even more of Taleb's insightful observations. So stay tuned.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but my mind is still buzzing from those aphorisms in the last section.
I know, right? Taleb really has a knack for packing a punch.
He does.
With just a few words.
It's amazing how much he can convey in such a concise way.
It's like he distills these complex ideas down to their essence, you know?
He does. He does.
Leaving us with these little potent nuggets of wisdom to ponder.
Yeah, and speaking of potent nuggets, we've got a whole new batch to unpack in this final section.
Oh, I'm excited.
Where we'll be exploring Taleb's observations on writing and communication, modern society and the human condition, and really everything in between.
All right, I'm ready for another round.
Are you ready for more mental gymnastics?
Bring it on.
All right, let's start with this one. You exist in full if and only if your conversation or writings cannot be easily reconstructed with clips from other conversations.
Whoa.
I know, right? It's a bit of a mouthful.
It is.
But it really gets you thinking.
It does. It's about finding your own voice.
Yes.
Your own unique way of expressing yourself rather than just parroting the ideas and opinions of others.
So it's not just about what you say,
Right.
it's about how you say it.
Exactly. It's about having your own perspective, your own insights, your own way of seeing the world.
I love that.
And that takes effort.
It does.
It takes critical thinking. It takes being willing to challenge the status quo and stand out from the crowd.
I think it's so easy to get caught up in,
Yeah.
the echo chambers of social media or the 24-hour news cycle where everyone seems to be repeating the same talking point.
Just regurgitating what they've heard.
Yeah, and so to really break free from those patterns and to think for yourself and to contribute something truly original to the world.
I love that.
I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
It is. It is.
Now, this next one is for all the writers out there.
Okay.
And it might sound a bit counterintuitive.
All right. Let's hear it.
A writer told me, I didn't get anything done today. Answer: try to do nothing. The best way to have only good days is to not aim at getting anything done. Actually, almost everything I've written that has survived was written when I didn't try to get anything done.
So true.
Makes you think, right?
It really does. It reminds me of that saying, inspiration strikes when you least expect it.
Yes.
Sometimes the best way to be productive is to let go of the pressure to produce.
Right.
And just allow yourself to be in the moment.
Just be.
It's about trusting the creative process.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to step away from our desks, clear our minds, and let our subconscious do the heavy lifting.
It's like giving our brains a break.
It is.
Right.
It is.
So those walks in nature, those long showers, those times when we're just daydreaming or letting our minds wander.
It's all part of the process.
They're actually essential for creative breakthroughs.
They are. They are.
This next one is short and sweet, but I love it. A good book gets better on the second reading, a great book on the third. Any book not worth rereading isn't worth reading.
That's a good one.
Right.
It speaks to the enduring power of great literature.
Yes.
How it can continue to challenge and inspire us.
Yes.
Long after we've finished reading it.
Yeah, the books that stay with us, the ones that we return to again and again, are the ones that offer new layers of meaning each time we encounter them.
It's like they grow with us.
Yes.
Evolving alongside our own experiences.
And perspectives.
Yeah.
This next aphorism kind of ties into that idea of effortlessness and mastery. Only in recent history has working hard signaled pride rather than shame for lack of talent, finesse, and mostly sprezzatura.
That word sprezzatura is so interesting.
It is. Can you explain what that means for those who might not be familiar with it?
Yeah, it's an Italian word that roughly translates to effortless elegance.
Okay.
Or studied carelessness.
Okay.
It's that ability to make something that is difficult look easy.
I love that.
To perform a task with grace and skill, as if it required no effort at all.
Think of a master musician who can play a complex piece flawlessly as if it were the simplest thing in the world.
Like, they're not even trying.
Yeah, but there's years of practice and dedication behind that.
Absolutely.
So what do you think Taleb is saying about working hard in this aphorism?
I think he's suggesting that we've come to fetishize hard work as an end in itself rather than a means to an end.
Right.
We wear our busyness and exhaustion like badges of honor.
Yes.
Even if the outcome isn't particularly impressive.
It's like we've lost sight of the importance of craftsmanship, of striving for excellence and elegance in our work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we often feel so stressed and burnt out.
Yeah.
Because we're so focused on the effort itself that we forget to enjoy the process or appreciate the beauty of the final product.
Yeah, I think that's a really great insight.
Thanks.
And it ties back to that idea of sprezzatura.
It does.
Maybe we need to rediscover that joy of doing things well, striving for mastery, not just for, the sake of recognition or accomplishment, but for the pure pleasure of it.
I love that. That's beautiful.
All right, now let's shift gears a bit and dive into some of Taleb's observations about modern society and the human condition.
Okay.
This one really struck a chord with me. Unless we manipulate our surroundings, we have as little control over what and whom we think about as we do over the muscles of our hearts.
That's a good one.
It makes you think about, how much of our mental landscape is actually within our control.
Right. It's like we're constantly bombarded with information and stimuli, both online and offline.
Yes.
And it's easy to feel overwhelmed and reactive rather than proactive and intentional.
So this aphorism reminds us that we need to be mindful of our mental diet.
Yes.
Just like we're mindful of what we eat.
Absolutely.
We need to be selective about the information we consume, the people we surround ourselves with, and the environments that we spend our time in.
I love that analogy of the mental diet.
Yeah, it's all about,
Yeah.
creating boundaries, setting limits, and choosing what we allow into our mental space.
Because if we don't, we risk being swept away by the tide of external influences.
Right, and that can lead to anxiety, stress, and just a feeling of being constantly overwhelmed.
It can.
This next one is a bit cynical,
Okay.
but I think there's some truth to it. It is very difficult to argue with salaried people that the simple can be important and the important can be simple.
Interesting.
Do you see any truth in that?
I think it speaks to how easily we can get caught up in the complexities of work and the pursuit of success.
Right.
We overcomplicate things, create unnecessary hierarchies, and lose sight of what truly matters.
So it's a reminder to simplify, to prioritize, and to focus on the things that bring us joy and fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Both inside and outside of work.
Both, yeah.
This next one is sure to spark some debate. Journalists cannot grasp that what is interesting is not necessarily important. Most cannot even grasp that what is sensational is not necessarily interesting.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah, a little bit of a sharp critique of the media landscape.
Yeah, it is, but I think there's a point there.
There is, where sensationalism and clickbait often overshadow more nuanced and meaningful stories.
Exactly. It's all about grabbing our attention.
Yeah.
But often lacking substance or depth.
And it makes it really difficult to discern what's truly important amidst all the noise.
All the noise, all the chatter.
So it's a reminder to be critical consumers of media.
Yes.
Seek out diverse perspective and do our own research before forming opinions.
Absolutely. You got it.
Okay, just a few more before we wrap things up.
Okay, I'm ready.
This one's about friendship. Supposedly, if you are uncompromising or intolerant with BS, you lose friends. But you will also make friends, better friends. I think this speaks to the importance of authenticity.
It does.
And setting boundaries in relationships.
Absolutely. It's about being true to yourself and surrounding yourself with people who share your values and respect your boundaries.
And sometimes that means letting go of relationships that are no longer serving you, even if it's painful.
Even if it's tough, yeah.
But the upside is you create space for more fulfilling and authentic connections.
Exactly.
Okay, this next one is short and to the point. Never take advice from a salesman or any advice that benefits the advice giver.
Good advice. Haha.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to be discerning about who we take advice from.
Yes. Always consider the source.
Consider the source.
Right.
Yeah.
And their motivations.
Their motivations.
Are they genuinely trying to help us, or are they trying to sell us something?
Right.
Or advance their own agenda?
Exactly.
So it's about trusting our own intuition and judgment.
Yeah.
And being wary of anyone who seems too eager to offer unsolicited advice.
Absolutely.
Okay, one last aphorism before we bring this deep dive to a close.
All right, let's hear it.
Robust is when you care more about the few who like your work than the multitude who dislike it, artists. Fragile, when you care more about the few who dislike your work than the multitude who like it, politicians.
Ooh, that's deep.
It is. What do you think Taleb is trying to say here?
I think it's about having a strong internal compass.
Yeah.
And not being swayed by external validation or criticism.
Right.
It's about focusing on doing your best work.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't please everyone.
I think that's a great takeaway.
It is. It's about recognizing that true strength comes from within.
Yes.
Not from seeking approval or validation from others.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the Bed of Procrustes.
We have.
We've explored a wide range of Taleb's thought-provoking aphorisms, touching on everything from the nature of thinking, the pursuit of happiness, to the complexities of modern society and the importance of authenticity.
And I hope our listeners have come away with some new insights and perspectives.
I hope so, too.
As well as a renewed appreciation for the power of language to spark reflection and challenge our assumptions.
It's amazing how these short, pithy statements can pack such a punch.
They do.
Forcing us to question our beliefs, re-examine our priorities, and see the world in a new light.
I love that.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Bed of Procrustes, I highly recommend checking out the book for yourself.
You should. There's so much more to explore.
There is.
And I guarantee you'll find yourself highlighting passages, dog-earing pages, and coming back to these aphorisms again and again.
As you go about your day, remember Taleb's words?
Oh, yes. What were they?
To become a philosopher, start by walking very slowly.
Such a good one.
It is. Slow down, observe, reflect.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to challenge the status quo.
That's where the real magic happens.
That's where true wisdom lies.
Thanks for joining us on this intellectual adventure.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and those conversations flowing.
We'll see you next time.